Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Golden, that's Michael Flecha, alongside Anthony Florio. I must apologize for the extremely late start. I had some things going on that was beyond my control, doing some errands after I had gotten out of the job. So, therefore, I'm here now, but we're just about ready to go. So, tonight, as you guys know, it is traditionally NXT, and then we do AEW Dynamite. So NXT, a dawning of a new era. Welcome to NXT 2.0. It was from the Performance Center in the Performance Center as always, and this time around, the CWC, we were ready to go, and we started it off with our first match of the evening. Braun Breaker goes one-on-one with LA Knight. Braun Breaker wins the match in 3 minutes and 41 seconds. Now, a lot of people are wondering, Braun Breaker, who the heck is this guy? What's this about? He is the son of Rick Steiner, the Bulldog, the pit bull of the Steiner brothers. And of course, his uncle is none other than Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, who is by far considered one of the greatest, one of the best wrestlers of our time. So Bronson Rick Steiner is his name, and he's now being called Braun Breaker. That's his character name, and it was a showcase fight. Braun looked really good. First match against LA Knight, got a big win clean over him. So now the question is that what are we going to see from Braun? It looks like he might be the heir apparent to this next evolution of NXT. Now we'll get into that in just a minute, but this was a solid showcase fight for him. LA Knight was not bad, but LA Knight had a bigger fight later in the evening. So for him to be out there early in the night, it makes a little bit of a head scratcher, at least in my mind. But we'll see how that plays out. So Anthony, it's yours.
While Braun Breaker is a major prospect, he is a work in progress. This was an odd booking decision to set the tone of the night. He defeated LA Knight in less than 4 minutes on the same night his opponent would challenge for the NXT Championship. This immediately made Knight look less worthy of the title match to come, and it was not even a great showcase for the newcomer. Breaker could have at least gotten to show off more here before the quick win. 2 stars, move on.
All right, next up we had was Imperium. Fabian Eichner and Matthew Barcel, and they went up against Josh Briggs and Brooks Jansen. And when it was all said and done, Imperium wins the match, 3 minutes, 55 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
While there was a serious possibility of another upset here, this was really just a squash to put over Imperium. Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel can make anything look good, but there wasn't much time to make the most of the spotlight. The newcomer here, Jensen, did not seem ready for the moment. It is good to see NXT doing more with Briggs, but he may be paired with the wrong star to seriously succeed. Another 2-star effort. MF is yours.
I agree with the 2 stars. I think it should have been a little more better, but at the end of the day, I mean, there's really nothing more to add. So it was solid for what it was worth, but it was a decent outcome, and it was a good match for what it was worth. Like you said, 2 stars. It was a little bit of a slow start where I think we could have gotten something better. And I think Dee Dee wasn't even alluded to it, that it was a little bit of a slow start. Then we had B-Fab with her crew, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Ashanti the Adonis, and Top Dollar. She went up against Catalina Cortez, and Fabby wins the match in 1 minute and 18 seconds. we really have nothing else to talk about. However, they did add a little bit of some fire. Fabi got on the mic, called out Electra Lopez, who is now a member of Legado del Fantasma, and it looks like they're about to collide. There's a collision course between B-Fab and Electra, and you had a feeling that this was about to explode, because remember, Electra, boy, did she become an X factor in that match when it was the whole crew, the Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma. And remember, Legado del Fantasma won that match because of Electra. So, Anthony, we don't have to talk about the match. Because it was an absolute squash. But
we do have to get into this. You're absolutely right. This does need to be addressed, and I'm going to address it right now.
All right.
B-Fab and Electra Lopez have a solid rivalry building, but I don't think they're quite ready for the spotlight on their own. I think it's vital that these women are prepared for the moment before they have their first singles bout. The match was a dud anyway, so let's move on.
All right. Well, the next thing that we had was Samantha Irvin was introducing Carmelo Hayes. And, people were talking about Carmelo winning the prospect tournament, everything else. But there's a big surprise. Carmelo Hayes now has a new bodyguard, Trick Williams. Now, if everybody was wondering who is Trick Williams, this is one of those guys from Developmental. He was an underground guy. He's actually been around. And he's not a wrestler. He is more of a mouthpiece, a bodyguard, whatever you want to call him. But this guy's done the independent circuit. He's done a lot of the outside of WWE. Anthony, it looks like they're building Carmelo to be a big time player. He's got a heavy now.
And he's going to be a major player. I 100% agree with that. No doubt about that. But I have to be critical of this. While it was a smart decision to pair Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, their first night together was uncoordinated. The promo missed its mark, and both spoke with limited confidence but could not seem to find a clear reason behind their words. This seemed to be a way to turn Hayes, but he was beating down on a heel with limited experience himself. Hopefully, WWE will give the two better material going forward to sell their dynamic much better. Work in progress, but I do believe it'll work. Absolutely.
All right. Next up we had was, of course, my favorites, Caden Carter, Casey Catanzaro. They went up against Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Caden and Casey won the match, minute 52 by DQ, because of the fact that Mandy Rose, a fully brunette Mandy Rose, hit the ring, jumped on Casey. That stopped the fight. Fight was over there. Then Saray came out. That led to a 6-woman tag. Saray, Caden, and Casey versus Mandy, Gigi, and JC. The heel team wins the match. 6 minutes and 15 seconds. All right, Anthony. The first match probably didn't go the way you were hoping for. But you got a bigger payoff in fight number 2.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Mandy Rose as a brunette. Hey now. This has possibilities. But anyways, all right. This was the first legitimate match on the card. While it took a restart to get to where it needed to be, the 6-woman tag team match was quality. Mandy Rose especially showed out throughout. This was after the reveal of her hair change. Rose growing brunette was not the big moment NXT made it out to be, but it at least seemed to fuel a change in personality. She was more aggressive in the ring and fit more naturally with Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. It finally feels like the heel trio have found their rhythm together. NXT can use fresh heels even in a dynamic women's division. 2.5 to 3 stars. I will most certainly call this the second best fight of the night for me. The first legitimate match on this show after all those, showcase cutout type fights, but still, yeah. So not much more to say. Those are my girls, no doubt about that. They're Tony girls. There's no doubt about that. I love all of them, especially Mandy. I mean, the love affair I've had with that one since day one. So,
yeah.
Not much more to say. MF, new look, Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose as a brunette, and this newfound ruthless
Looks
type
good.
aggression. Hey now.
Yeah, this definitely works. This definitely works. I totally agree. The first fight was a little bit of a wash. The second fight, this woke up NXT. NXT took a step in the right direction when this match went down. No doubt about it. I totally agree with it. 3.5 stars, and like you said, this finally woke up NXT. So next up we had was Ridge Holland versus Drake Maverick. Ridge Holland wins in a minute 46. We're just gonna move on from that. Then we had the Creed brothers, Julius and Brutus. They went up against Travis Skelly and Dan Jarman. Creed Brothers wins in 2:45. That's fine. We're just gonna move on from that. Now we got to the main event. The biggest match of the evening. And here we go. It was now earlier in the day or earlier this week, you found out Samoa Joe was unable to compete due to an injury. He had to forfeit the belt. So we had a fatal four-way. It was supposed to be Tommaso Ciampa, Pete Dunne, LA Knight, and I believe it was Kyle O'Reilly. Well, O'Reilly got jumped. So Von Wagner gets the fourth spot. So it was Ciampa, Dunne, Knight, and Wagner. Fatal four-way. The NXT World Title on the line. The winner becomes the brand new champion. The winner of the bout in 7 minutes, 55 seconds, and new NXT champion. No one will survive. Tommaso Ciampa is the champion. Two-time NXT champion. Goldie is home where she belongs. To the Sicilian psychopath, Anthony Florio. Oh my God. Ciampa is the champion.
Yep, but yeah, well, we're going to have another monsoon moment in just a moment. But before we get into that, after a night of too many, and I do mean too many short squashes, this was a breath of fresh air. Even though Von Wagner felt a bit shoehorned in, he definitely showed up in this match. He looked at home in a limited role fighting top talent. WWE still needs to work on his look and presentation, though. This came down to a fight between Pete Dunne and Tommaso Ciampa to become the veteran who will lead NXT 2.0 immediately. And the Blackheart won the battle. He is now a two-time NXT champion who can work with just about anyone NXT throws at him. Given how this first night has gone, it seems Ciampa will be fighting plenty of new stars in the coming months. It is just a question of who will dethrone him, because that could come quickly if the brand wants to move away from the old stars. But nonetheless, this was the fight of the night. 3.5 to 4. Most definitely, this was the fight of the night, hands down, no doubt about it. So, I know for a fact MF is really happy about this. I mean, MF, you didn't get the moment you wanted on Monday. I know how badly you wanted Randy Orton to become WWE champion once again, but that did not happen.
But I was still happy that Big E won it. I mean,
yeah,
I'm a big fan of Big E as well, but I was very happy that he won it all.
Yep, but I know for a fact you're all, when it comes to NXT, you're a Tommaso Ciampa guy, and I know you must have been you must have let out a big old yes at this moment. And I'll be honest, I was surprised. I mean, going into this, I honestly thought Kyle O'Reilly was going to win, given the way he's been built lately. But they took him out. Obviously, something's going to happen down the line. But what a match, though. 3.5 to 4 for the second time in 3 nights. Monsoon, you know what to do. You got business to do.
Yeah, history was made at the CWC at the Capitol Wrestling Center. We have a new NXT champion, and it is indeed Tommaso Ciampa. Look, I'm going to be really honest with you. I could not believe Ciampa won the belt. I was stunned that Ciampa won the belt. I was excited because, my God, look at what's about to happen now. Tommaso Ciampa is the NXT champion. I mean, what a story that is. What a road he's been on just to get back to Goldie. And you know what? I got to give credit where credit's due. This was a tremendous main event. 3 3/4 to 4 is my rating. And yeah, by far the fight of the night. So with that said, we now lead us to the moment. It was the wedding of Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis. And I got to admit, guys, going into this, I'm thinking, this could be full-on cringe. But I will say this. I really thought that this wedding actually came off really well. I mean, this was pretty good. And I gotta admit, I thought they did an excellent job of handling the situation. I don't think there was anything bad. Now, obviously, in WWE weddings, you're a little concerned because you're going to get some over-the-top stuff. And yes, there were over-the-top stuff. There was, it was kind of one of those where, it was, you had the priest making, talking some jokes. Well, not the priest, but, there was some stuff going on. And, it kind of was one of those things that, I kind of feel like, it was, you had the moments where Johnny Gargano came out, with Indy. First off, Indy Hartwell looked amazing as a bride. I don't think there's going to be much argument on that one. She looked like she was in the 10s. She was in the 10s.
Hard eye emoji. No doubt.
To steal a quote from Gorilla Monsoon from the 91 SummerSlam, beauty personified is what Indy Hartwell looked last night.
Yes.
I think she looked amazing. Dexter, hey, he cleaned up pretty well. I thought he looked pretty good. I love the fact at the point when he tried to go for, when the priest asked for any objections, some people started putting their hands. Well, yeah, those hands went down pretty fast when the axe came out. He just showed the axe. He didn't use it. But then Indy did her speech. It got a little whoa. Wow. Let's just say we could put that in the not so PG moment. We'll say that. There was a moment, it almost made me it literally reminded me of Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian's wedding from AEW. It got to that point where, whoa, it got a little uncomfortable. I know if Dee Dee was here or Anthony was here, I know Anthony, the man of good faith, he probably would be like, I don't know if this is really appropriate for a wedding. I mean, I don't know. Me and Derek, we would probably be eating this up, man. We'd be popcorn. We'd be bouncing around like New Day on that one. Oh boy. Yes, I apologize. Sometimes the mind wanders a little bit there, but that was a little interesting. Loomis then didn't really say anything, just thumbs up. Then the priest kind of questioned Loomis about his vows and everything else. I mean, that was a big mistake. Next thing you know, he gets put up on, chokes him out. Everybody was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. What the hell? What's going to happen now? Well, first Gargano asked Regal to officiate it. Regal's like, I don't want to do this. No, I pass. Beth Phoenix steps up and she finishes the wedding. And you know what? I got to say, apropos, perfect choice to finish the wedding. Out of all the people you could have had finishing this wedding, I think it was perfect by NXT and WWE to let Beth Phoenix finishes this wedding. She has been the biggest and the most loyal supporter of Index since the very beginning. And if you remember, Anthony, she was the one that gave Indy Hartwell the ring. She handed her the ring that led to the engagement. And she also kind of, was warming her up like, you can do this. You can do this. She was instrumental in the bachelorette party for, she was one of the people that was instrumental in Indy's bachelorette party. I also think Candice LeRae was also very involved in it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought this was perfect to have her do it. So we get on to the big part, which was the I do's. Indy was first. Obviously, no problems with her. We got to Dexter. She talked all the stuff and everything else. And then Beth was like, you know what? No, he doesn't have to say anything. It'll probably be I do. So we can move. No. He puts the mic down, shutting her up. I pauses for about 5 seconds. Dude, people start freaking out. The crowd goes absolutely ballistic. The internet explodes. D.D. Woodson is freaking out. Oh my God, Dexter spoke. Where me and Florio and Bullock were thinking, oh my God, they're home free. The path is clear now. Nothing's stopping this runaway train. We're about to this is about to become a successful wedding. It is. I now pronounce you husband and wife. They sealed it with a kiss. He carries her through the threshold at the end of NXT. This goes down as a successful wedding and now top 5 as one of the best weddings that has ever happened in professional wrestling. I think there is no debate on this one. This is top 5 worthy. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Obviously, this was the segment of the night. This was everything it needed to be. It was just a massive, crazy wrestling comedy angle that did not actually go off the rails. Many stars got a chance to shine without overshadowing the central fun. Dexter Loomis and Indy Hartwell are married, and their story can continue to grow wilder for NXT 2.0. It should be fun to watch her progression into the wife of the tortured artist, as well as what happens with Gargano. But yeah, I mean, we definitely would have had the SummerSlam 91 fun. I mean, the only difference is I didn't get any stuff on my suit. Beautiful. So yeah. So no, none of that stuff. They didn't drop anything like they did 30 years ago. But but nonetheless, we would have had the pre-wedding fun. I mean, I would have made the smarky comments like Bobby Heenan did, and I was said, yeah, I can't wait to see what cheap blue light special wedding
I
dress.
know Michael Bullock would have been down your throat on that because he's Mr. NXT. He definitely would be kicking your butt right about now.
Yeah, and
this is one of those moments where I definitely would have played the gorilla on this one because I know when it comes to this wedding, because this was Mike Bullock's and NXT, and think about this.
He would have been Roddy Piper. He would have been Roddy Piper.
And think about this. We can now legitly say that all three shows, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, have all had successful weddings. Now, they were crazy. Some of them were over the top, but each show now had a successful wedding. Monday Night Raw, the wedding of Kane and Lita. Yep. They were officially married. They went all the way. I know there was interruptions by the Hardys and, Trish and everything else, but they got there.
Indeed.
SmackDown. They had the what Anthony? Go ahead.
No. What were you saying?
SmackDown. Dawn Marie and Al Wilson.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That was your favorite.
That wedding was official. They went all the way. Yes, it was over the top because they both got down to their skibbies on that one.
Yeah.
But they did get married. They went all the way. They got to the vows. They got to everything. And they were pronounced husband and wife. And, AEW for Derek happened just recently, a few months ago, where Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, they had a successful wedding. The shenanigans happened after, but they got it. And now Michael Bullock, a full circle moment for all of us, a wrestling form celebration, because he gets the NXT moment with Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. Well, no, I got to call her by her legal name now, Indy Lumis.
Yeah. So, and then when she showed up, I would do the wow, and then you'd be like, oh, take a look. Yeah.
Yep.
You would, and then you would have done the beauty personified. Bullock would have done the bravo, and all that, and we would have gone as old school with this as possible. We would have gone as old school as 30 years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But the fairy tale love story heard around the world, and I'd be like, boy, oh boy, are they in love? So, yeah.
I think the minute Dexter Lumis said I do,
yeah,
she literally was the happiest girl in the US of A.
And Beth Phoenix right behind her.
And Beth Phoenix was, I think Beth just couldn't believe that he spoke, and B, she goes down in history. The Hall of Famer goes down in history because she got to do the magic words. She got to pronounce them as husband and wife. Yeah. And thank you to that cheap, what was it, $3.99 license to be an ordained minister she talked about? Something like that.
Yeah.
She gave me a good little chuckle at the end before she pronounced husband and wife. So.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise because we all know how she was the one who wanted it more than anybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Vic Joseph was just as excited. Of course, the only one who was opposed, of course, was Barrett, but
yeah,
which led to some very funny heel moments throughout it. I mean,
oh yeah,
throughout the build-up,
Barrett must have been money on that segment.
Yeah, he probably had his hand. He was probably covering his face, like, oh my god, if I know him. But no, this was a great wrestling wedding here. It's definitely within the upper echelon here. it's still not the greatest. Macho and Liz, no one's ever
Oh,
gonna.
no, nobody's gonna touch Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. No way.
No matter how hard they may try.
Oh no,
Not gonna happen.
There's been a lot of people that talked about how good Melissa Santos and Brian Cage's was in Impact Wrestling.
Indeed.
That wedding was pretty good. I mean, you can talk about Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford from AEW,
and of course from the second episode of Saturday Night's Main Event in the Meadowlands when Uncle Elmer and Joyce.
Yes.
Which is on the Peacock for all of you out there. So
yeah.
Yep, it's there, so you can relive it. And I'm very curious, MF. What is your top 5?
Wow, you're literally gonna put me on the spot right now, aren't you?
Because you said this was in the top 5.
Well, all right. I will say I will go with. I gotta go Macho Liz number 1, easy.
Of course.
Number 2, it has to be the Test and Stephanie McMahon because of the Triple H part.
Oh yes.
I mean, that instantly puts it at number 2. No doubts, no arguments. 3, I gotta say, is Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford from AEW.
Right.
I gotta put this in number 4.
Okay.
I have to.
All right.
I think this is number 4 of the greatest weddings in wrestling history.
Okay.
And then because I don't remember the Uncle Elmer Miss Joyce wedding, I mean, I've seen it, but I'm not as attached to it legacy-wise. So I can't say that. I can't put that there. And then the 5th, now this is tough. Actually, you know what? I'll agree. I'll go with the Melissa Santos Brian Cage from Impact Wrestling.
Fair enough.
I think that deserves a top 5 spot because I thought that was an excellent wedding. Yeah, there was a lot of craziness in that one too, but I thought that one was an excellent wedding. And as like honorable mentions, I gotta say, Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan, honorable mention.
Sure.
From Impact. I could also say as an honorable mention, Triple H and Stephanie, the renewal of vows, because of the rage that Triple H showed at the end.
Oh yeah.
And then you could even say, probably as crazy as this may sound, Billy and Chuck from SmackDown that led to 3-minute warning, and Eric Bischoff being the officiant.
Yes, that was fun.
So I mean, yeah, I wish we could do a whole show about it, but we don't got that much time.
No, we don't. So I was just curious. So
yeah.
So with that being said, segment of the night, it was fun. There were a little bit of some campy comedy, funny, Mookie stinks, during this, but thankfully this went off without a hitch and nothing got ruined. And to cap it all off, seeing Beth Phoenix damn near bouncing around like Tigger at the end was awesome. So not much more to say. Overall review time, and this is gonna be very tough for a lot of folks. I mean, MF, I know you've come across a lot of folks. I don't know if you've read a lot of reviews, or if your Discord buddies if your Discord buddies have had a say on this.
Actually, and they actually gave it a thumbs up. They actually said that it was a solid show. They actually liked the new set. There was actually nothing bad as far as NXT goes. They said it was like at least a 7.5, according to them.
And that's right.
Mainly because of the wedding.
Well, not just the wedding, but also the NXT Championship. I mean,
yes,
those two saved the show. I mean, and no big surprise that they did. They needed it, and this did not have the feel of NXT. This was not the Triple H led NXT. This was definitely the Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, Bruce Pritchard NXT style. I mean, it kind of had a little bit of a feel of a Monday Night Raw, you know, with all those cutout matches, but still, I like the setup. The set looks, the setup looks amazing. It really does. I mean, I really like the setup. It kind of has, it almost has a little bit of WCW Worldwide from the Universal Studios meets the Thunderdome. I mean, because you notice it had that little bit of that little Thunderdome set up, the last version of it. But nonetheless, I like the new setup. There's definitely bigger. The crowd's definitely bigger now, which is great. And you know, like I said, some of the matches were ridiculously short. A lot of them I felt were cutouts, honestly, and I was not happy with the show. But from that regard, but once we got to that 6-woman tag, that definitely picked things up. And then the NXT Championship and the wedding saved the show. So it's a work in progress. It's only one show, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. You know, next week, we got Kushida against Roderick Strong for the Cruiserweight Championship of the World to look forward to. So we'll have to wait and see. So 7, teetering on 7.5. I agree. So MF, I mean, I read it in the message in our messenger chat that you read a lot of negative reviews. Who from?
Oh man, it was all over the place. There was a few that kind of dumped, and there was a few that kind of really didn't like the show, doesn't like the direction of NXT. There's this guy named JD from NY who's, I think, very familiar with Derek Ferreira, and he unloaded on NXT, like literally unloaded on him, and just the comments that he made and everything else, and it annoyed me. Let's just say that I got very annoyed with his comments. I almost wanted it to open fire and attack, Cerebral Viper style on JD. But then I'm like, you know what? He ain't worth my time. He ain't worth my rage or whatever. He's just an AEW mark, as a lot of other people are in the wrestling world. So I kind of disingenuous those type of individuals, because the reason why either you were going to enjoy NXT or you were going to dump it because it's WWE produced now. That it is McMahon, Dunn, Pritchard, and that you just won't like it because you just don't like it. So, I mean, it ain't worth our time or our patience. It was a 7 out of 10. Like you said, the 6-woman tag saved it, and then you got the big payoff right at the end. So, I mean, yeah, it was good for what it was worth. There's really nothing more to say, and we'll just move on along to AEW. We started it off with Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian. Adam Cole wins the match in 7 minutes and 58 seconds. Solid opener, 3 to 3.5 stars. Good matchup. There was really nothing that, you know, it was what we expected it to be. There was no mystery on who was going to win the match or anything else. But, I mean, it was just good storyline, good story, a well-wrestled match. That's the key thing. It was well-wrestled. So I really got nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Time of the fall?
7:52.
I thought it was a little longer than that, but, well, all right. But nonetheless, Frankie is the perfect first opponent for talent coming into AEW. We saw it a few months back with Christian Cage and here tonight with Adam Cole, both of whom had strong first outings against one of the godfathers of Impact Wrestling's X Division. Cole looked as great here as he did throughout his NXT run, hardly missing a beat. He was crisp and showed the in-ring charisma that fans demand from a star of his stature. The idea of Adam Cole and the Young Bucks battling Christian Cage and Jurassic Express is mighty appealing to fans of great, energetic, and explosive tag team wrestling and such a bout should help propel the feud between the babyfaces and the Elite forward. And we are going to get that 6-man tag team match as part of a special 2-hour edition of AEW Rampage next Friday night as part of this loaded Grand Slam. And that definitely is a major inconvenience for us because, we have our brand new Cerebral Smack Talk at 11 o'clock now. And with this show being 2 hours, we're going to have to think of something. So, but anyways, that's going to be insane. And I can't wait to see it next Friday night. But for right now, 3.5 stars. I 100% agree with this. Great post-match promo by Adam Cole afterwards, and that's really all there is to say there. So not much more to say. MF, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, their story better than anybody. They're going to be teaming up against Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express on that special 2-hour Rampage next week.
Yeah, no doubt. This is going to be solid to say at the very least. Well, we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. So we got nothing more to add. We just move right on along. Next up we had was FTR. They went up against Dante Martin and Matt Sydal. FTR wins the match in 8 minutes and 32 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
Wow. Yeah, this was another. This was a fun little sprint here. 3 to 3.5. What was a totally random tag match with no real rhyme or reason for existing beyond getting everyone on TV was, in the end, a hellishly fun bout that reminded the fans of FTR's excellence and continued to highlight the immense talent of Dante Martin. Matt Sydal is always great, but Dante Martin has absolutely made the most of every opportunity he has had to compete in front of the AEW fans. He steals the show with every outing and showed some great in-ring chemistry with the opposition, who would make great opponents for Dante and brother Darius when he returns. This is within the 3 to 3.5 echelon here, no doubt about it. This was a fun little sprint, as we always like to say, MF. And keep an eye on Dante Martin. I'm telling you, that kid is going to be a mega star, a big star, many years from now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This was solid. So, 3.5, no doubt. So we're just gonna move right on along. Next up, then we had like a little bit of a promo. We got some few promo segments, including Dan Lambert. Okay, Dan, you are a pain in the ass. I don't like you one bit, but man, did you bring some heat tonight with your American Top Team? I mean, good Lord. Some of the talent he had, men and women, because there was 2 girls, and I know them very well. Kara Henderson is right now the PFL Women's Champion of the world. She's one of the best. And then Paige Van Zandt. Anthony, I think you remember Paige very well from her days in UFC. Oh, yeah. The girl next door.
Oh, yeah. That was her? I didn't even know that was her. Oh, my God.
The little one, the one that not the little one that looked a little the one, she almost reminds me. She would be like Rio. She is like the little girl next door, the little porcelain doll. She's almost like it, She almost looks like her, yeah. I think Rio and Paige would be a great match if they ever did that fight. That'd be an excellent match. Same height, almost the same weight class. I think they say now, obviously, you never ever talk about a lady's weight. That's just a major no-no. Don't ever. But I do remember Tony Schiavone did say that Rio's about 98 pounds, something like that. Paige, I know in her MMA career was always fighting around 115. That was always her weight class, which was, I believe, the straw weight, which is 115 pounds. Now, I do know she's fought at, like, I think she did. No, she's always fought at 115. She's always been at the 115 weight class, so the straw weight division. So that would be an even fight if they ever did do a match like that, evenly matched. So we'll see. Jericho did come out, did rip off, and did go after Dan Lambert and the guys. And it looked like Dan Lambert and the crew and him and Inner Circle looks like they're going to be fighting next week in New York. So, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. It's going to be Chris Jericho and Jake Hager squaring off against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and I think it's going to be on that 2-hour Rampage as well.
So we got that. Then we had Layla Hirsch going one-on-one with Jade Cargill. Jade wins the match, 6 minutes and 15 seconds. All right. Good match. Could have been better, but it was solid for what it was worth. I'd give this a solid 3. It could have been a little better, but the outcome was never in doubt. As much as I love Layla and she's amazing, there was no way she was going to beat Jade. That was a total mismatch. I mean, Jade is way too strong. The height and weight alone was a mismatch. This was no big surprise how this ended for me. Anthony, it's yours.
2.5 stars. Jade Cargill is undeniably a star. She has a presence and a look that commands attention and the in-ring ability that is evolving with every performance. She was great here, showing off her strength and size advantage against a smaller opponent in Layla Hirsch. Layla showed the grit and toughness necessary to fight back, but her ability was not enough to overcome the determination and raw power of her opponent. And this was the female equivalent of a Be a Man fight. I mean, this was a hoss fight between these two powerhouse ladies, and this is definitely an MF special match here, no doubt about that, because we all know MF loves the hard-hitting, smash-mouth physicality type bouts, and we definitely got that and then some in this Be a Woman fight, as I call it. So 2.5 stars for me. Not much more to say. MF, let's continue on.
All right. Then the next thing that we did have was right after that, we had Darby Allin versus Shawn Spears. Darby Allin wins the match in 8 minutes and 19 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
2 3/4 to 3 stars. The feud between Sting, Darby Allin, and the Pinnacle isn't exactly lighting the world on fire, but at least it gives all involved something to do. In particular, FTR, who followed up a strong match earlier in the night by beating the hell out of Sting and Darby to set up a match in New York next week. Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler have earned the opportunity for that level of exposure against stars of that magnitude, and the results should be damn good. Allen will sell his ass off. Sting will pop the crowd with the babyface comeback, and the fans will go home happy. Whatever the end game is with this program, at least the in-ring portion is destined to impress, and FTR will benefit from association, if not from being the best of the two teams from a performance standpoint. So this was about 2 3/4 to 3 stars. So, MF, thoughts on all this?
Yeah, no, solid match, no doubt about it. Like you said, 2 3/4, teetering on 3, but I would go more on the 2 3/4 more than anything else. Good for what it was worth, but it is what it is. Next up we had was a promo segment that was done by the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, interrupted by Kenny Omega and Don Callis. Guys, we're going to get it. It's official. Next week in New York at Arthur Ashe Stadium, it will be Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, 1-on-1. Non-title. The title will not be on the line. Very important. The title is not on the line. So, AEW World Champion Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, non-title match. That was the one thing that needed to be addressed. And it was basically this is just to prove who's the best wrestler in the world. So, what a matchup this is going to be. Anthony Florio, a dream match next week, Arthur Ashe Stadium in Flushing Meadows, New York.
Oh.
Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, versus the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, 1-on-1. But more importantly, unfortunately, for us fans, we don't get it. The title is not on the line.
I don't give a crap. That's fine with me. It doesn't matter. I mean, would it be nice if the title was on the line? Absolutely. But it honestly doesn't need the title because these two, based on name value alone, can sell this thing. And that's all. Segment of the night. This was a short, sweet promo segment that set up an enormous pay-per-view quality match for next week's episode of Dynamite. Bryan Danielson, like he did earlier this year in WWE, used his words and appealed to the ego of his rival in an attempt to get what he wanted. I mean, we saw him do the same thing with Roman. He talked his way right into a match with Kenny Omega by making it about who is the best rather than the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It worked, and he suckered Omega right into a big match, a dream match on an enormous stage. If given the time, this is what needs to be stressed on, because Dynamite likes to give us a lot. They like to load these things up. They like to give us 6 or 7 matches on an average card. This is the big selling point. If given the time, and I pray to God they give this the time it deserves, next week's show has the opportunity to produce one of the best matches in the almost 2-year history of this show. So let's keep that in mind. I know they like to give us a lot on these shows, but give these guys at least in the realm of 20 to 30 minutes. If we can get a 20 to 30 minute match between these two within that echelon, I'm happy. I don't care who wins. I just want to see an instant classic. I mean, if we were to get a 5-star classic on free television, that would be freaking awesome. But we'll have to wait and see. But
the one fear I have with this match, and I got a major fear, is that the Elite is gonna get involved.
Of course they're gonna get involved.
And that's the one fear, is that I hope that it is a clean fight. And I hope we have a decisive winner, but you already know that's probably not going to happen.
Oh, there's going to be some Mookie stinks. There's no doubt about it.
There is going to be some major Mookie stinks when you got a Jurassic Express and Christian Cage and maybe even Frankie Kazarian. Because Kazarian's still going to have a little bit of a bone to pick with Adam Cole.
Elite Hunter.
Yeah, but of course, you're gonna have the Young Bucks, the Good Brothers, Cole, and maybe Carter, Michael Nakazawa. There's gonna be overbook on this. You know it. You feel it. I just got a real bad feeling that we're not gonna get the 5-star classic. That's the only fear I have. I think the match is going to be all world. This is going to be one of the greatest matches in AEW history. But I don't think we're going to get the clean or great finish that we're promised to get. And on top of that, the other out is that the title is not on the line. Maybe they give us that. But I kind of got a feeling we're gonna get we're not gonna get the great finish that we're supposed to get. I obviously am hoping and praying I'm wrong, but I kind of got a bad feeling about it. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed. So that I'm just hoping for within at least 20, at most 30. That's what I'm hoping for. So we'll have to wait and see. But this was the segment of the night, and all I can say, MF, is those two in Arthur Ashe Stadium. Oh my goodness, that's going to be insane. So, with that being said, MF, if you haven't given your thoughts, let's get into our main event.
Main event: Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus 2.0. 2.0's Matt Lee and Jeff Parker with Daniel Garcia. And the face team wins the match. 6 minutes, 54 seconds. Yeah, solid main event. Nothing too amazing to say. However, after the match, Minoru Suzuki showed up with Lance Archer, and they laid out Moxley and Kingston, and Moxley and Suzuki fought to the timekeeper table, used the microphone to escape the pile driver, but they brawled into the crowd, and supposedly rumor are going around that we might get Suzuki versus well, okay. This stems back from a week ago, the Suzuki incident. Some way, somehow, the AEW monkeys, and yes, I'm calling them that, screwed up on Minoru Suzuki by basically cutting his song off ahead of time. Now, that is a production failure. That is something that cannot be done at any point in any wrestling organization. That was a total disrespect to Minoru Suzuki, to the legend that he is from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I know Derek Ferrera was not happy with AEW. Neither was I. We were both pissed off at AEW. And Derek doesn't really go after AEW that often. And he said that was a major mistake by production, that should never have happened. And they made a big stink about it, and they turned it into a storyline. Thank you, AEW, for being smart and realizing that you boys were goofball McGundies about a week ago. But, oh boy, Suzuki versus Moxley, that war is not done by a long shot. Anthony, 2 to 2.5 stars for the main event. But I'm more excited about what happened with Suzuki versus Moxley.
Oh, yeah. 2 to 2.5 for this. The match was a fun, perfectly acceptable battle that saw the right team go over ahead of next week's high-profile showdown with Suzuki and Archer. The post-match brawl would have meant more had we not seen similar from Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black earlier in the show, but the personalities and intensity at the center of it helped it succeed. Next week's battle will be an immensely physical match that will test both teams' toughness and give an indicator as to where AEW's booking is heading. A win from Moxley and Kingston ends the feud. A win for the opposition suggests Suzuki will stick around for a bit. 2 to 2.5 for this. And I'm going to have to start on the overall. Yeah, I get to start it again. So, as it should. So, I would probably give this about another 7.5 on this. I mean, it's really all about next week. I mean, next week may be the biggest Dynamite in history, and then it's gonna spill over. But not so great main event aside, this was a good example of fitting a lot of stuff into 2 hours. Several stories were covered, and they set up all kinds of stuff for next week's 2 special shows. This week's show might not have been great, but it got things ready for the next great show, and that is very important in its own right. Good show here, which shouldn't surprise anyone. So another 7.5 for me. So I'm going to take it home.
Seven for me as well. That's done. We're done for the night. Tomorrow night is Anthony Florio College Football Thursday. Big games galore all over the college football universe. And of course, the big one, Alabama, Florida.
Oh.
That's the game of the week. We got that. We'll have that. And talk about Mookie stinks. I think Anthony Florio might need to give a swift, good kick in the butt to Notre Dame after what happened to them on Saturday. Man, they almost crapped the bed against Toledo, and I know Anthony Florio was not happy with the way that they won.
It would have been almost like it would have been like to Notre Dame what Michigan had with Appalachian State. It would have been a lot like that.
Oh yeah,
believe me, it would have. And oh boy, I would have unleashed hell if they had lost. I would have unleashed hell. No doubt about that. I would have. I would have gone 97 Bret Hart, John Moxley, the whole 9 yards. That's exactly what I would have done. So, throwing a little bit of some Jesse stuff on top of that. So
yeah.
I would have gone off. But MF, yes, Alabama and Florida is the game of the week, but we got some other good ones. We got a very good number 2 game of the week as well. How about Auburn against Penn State in a whiteout in Beaver Stadium?
Oh, yeah.
The legendary whiteout.
The legendary whiteout. Oh, boy. That's going to be a lot of fun, too. So we got that. That's on Thursday, 10:30.
And there's also maybe the most intriguing, when it comes to sleeper games, this is one I got to address quickly. How about the U, Miami against Michigan State? How about that?
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of great ones. We'll get into all that. But of course, Bama, Florida, Auburn, Penn State. Those are the big boys right there.
So we got that 10:30, and then of course Friday we got another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. That's going to be about SmackDown Live, AEW Rampage, and then Saturday. Yes, we're doing it, guys. NFL Saturday, first time we're doing it all year. That's on Anthony's channel on the Tone 25. So I want to say thank you to all the fans for watching this. Like the video, leave a comment, share with all your friends on all the social media platforms around the world. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night on Anthony's channel, the Tone 25, for a College Football Thursday. For all of us here, thank you so much for watching. So long, everybody, and have a good night.
Goodbye.